So here we're looking at Paul Hindemith's Clarinet Sonata from 1939, and this YouTube accompanies my podcast, which is available on most platforms. So one of the most interesting things about this first movement is the way in which Hindemith plays around with our perception of time, of what the time signature of the piece is. As you can see quite clearly here, he marks it in 3/4 time. But one of the things that I realised after years of playing this as a student was that I was actually thinking of the piece in a different time signature, and I'd never realised this. And when you listen to a recording of this, or indeed if you start playing it, it feels like the beats are every 2 beats, so which would give it a time signature of 2/4. So we've got and so it carries on. So it's just a point of interest, really, which is right from the beginning when you hear this, if you're listening to it. To my ears, at least, it doesn't sound like it's in 3 beats in the bar. It feels like it's in 2 because of the way that the notes are distributed. I think particularly here when you've got this crotchet, this quarter note, tied here, and the way that the syncopation works in places like this, it just feels to me like it has more of this sort of like minim feel, that we're kind of in a minim beat, or a half note beat if you're hearing this in America. And this time displacement is something that carries on from Brahms. Brahms was famous for doing this displacing where the downbeat feels, and Hindemith uses this an awful lot. So not only does he do it like this at the beginning, but because he uses canons an awful lot. Canons are, in this particular movement, one of his favoured compositional devices, and that gives us this effect of changing the beat or elongating phrases. So if we look further down in the piece, we have this place here where, or rather, sorry, that's not quite right, to there. So we have this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we've got 5 beat patterns here. And then it's a 6 beat pattern at the end. So if you think we're supposed to be in 3 beats in the bar, we're already changing the beat from this point where we've got and then that elongates this third phrase. It's a classic phrasing structure where you have repetition, and then on the third iteration, then that phrase is the resultant phrase, and that's where we finally arrive at our resolution. And that's what Hindemith uses here. He uses a fragment of the theme. So this stems back to this bit here, as you can see, in a different key already, where we started in what feels like in B flat major, but we don't stay there for very long. And it's not really, B flat is a key centre rather than it being a key signature. As you can see, there is no key signature. So this fragment here in the clarinet part goes back to that initial bit of the theme, and we have these different phrase lengths, and then we finally here, it finally feels like it is 3/4, or in fact sort of 1 in a bar. And Hindemith had this theory about what the human ear could easily perceive, and he thought that it was 3 parts. And you can see here we have those 3 voices. We've got the bass line, we have the right hand at the piano, and we have the clarinet part. So he's he weaves these three lines, lines in counterpoint. Again, one of his features, and those 5-beat patterns that we had before return here, and then it's elongated again. We have a 6-beat pattern, and then we have 2s, and then we go back to 3, and all the while against that we've got, so these are our 5-beat patterns, and this is our 6, and then we've got 2, 2, and 2, and then against that we've got 3, a different 3, and then we have these 2s, and you can see they're sort of in canon with each other at the time. So we were creating all these different phrase patterns, or these beat patterns, which go against each other, which creates this interesting sort of polyrhythm. It's not really a polyrhythm, but it's these overlapping lines of counterpoint. But it kind of has this sort of interesting combination because they're not uniform. And as I say, we have this. The canon is something that is used a lot. So you can see here at the beginning of the theme that we have an entry here. Let me use a different colour so you can see. So there's entry 1. There's entry 2, so we haven't quite finished the pattern. If you see that the original theme here goes down to this crotchet, so entry number 1 is there, and at the point that the theme is almost reaching completion, then we open with another version, but this one is truncated even more, and then we have entry number 3 and entry number 4. Now, if this had been a fugue, a Bach fugue, we would call this stretto, this effect. I think we can still call it stretto, where the entries overlap each other even closer, without actually completing the full theme. These ones actually do. If you see in number 3, we get down to have two crotchets, and then similarly number 4, entry number 4 makes it through. These are just interesting points about how Hindemith is using the material. So we've got these little halting sections of theme, again here in the piano, imitated. And then this idea, you can see that this and this are exactly the same. So we've got an F sharp, D natural, which if you transpose it into the clarinet part is G sharp, E, and this is now extended to include some more triplets. And then this triplet idea is what is carried on from figure 4. So this is a new linking passage, or it's a new idea. And we have this using the triplets, and it makes it feel a little bit like it's 9/8 whilst we're still in 3/4, and this is important because this 9/8 3/4 thing is something that Hindemith goes on to play around with. So this is our link, and then we have a new texture in the piano here at figure 5, and finally we get our 9/8 time signature. One of the other things that Hindemith was or is known for is his use of fourths for harmonies rather than the usual triads, and indeed his melodies often eschew triadic shapes, and he'll do anything he can to try and make interesting lyrical melodic lines that don't follow triads. And also his harmony is often derived from fourths, and we see this to great effect. Firstly, in this piano accompaniment here, where you can see the fourths here with the A and the E, and similarly in the left hand. And then this new theme, sort of theme number 2, that the clarinet introduces, is completely made up of rising fourths. Sounds a little bit like it's going to break out into the theme to Star Trek, which is famous for all of its fourths. a bom 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 bom. So that this new, quite bold, dramatic theme made up of fourths is a classic Hindemith device. And again, Hindemith uses canon. So this is our first statement of the tune, first statement of the theme. So we have it here for the first time, and then we turn over the page, and then we have it in the left hand of the piano, and then the clarinet takes it over again, and then we have again this idea of the stretto effect, getting closer together and overlapping. There's the fourth one, and then there's the fifth, and the sixth, and then in a slightly different rhythmic configuration, we have seventh here, where we have this 3 against 4, or 4 in the time of 3, should I say. So 4 in the time of 3, again playing with this idea of 4s and 3s. And all the time we're changing the tonality of this. So this starts on a concert E, is our starting point here. And then on number 2, we're on a D, and then a C, and then a B flat, and then an E flat, and then back to E. So you can see what's happening, the direction in which that's going, and then he's doubling back. We start on E, and then we're dropping down a tone each time, E, D, C, B flat, and then we have, as it were, almost like a cadence, B flat to E flat, and then semitone to E, semitonal shift, and we have it again here on E, and we have this was stretto, this idea we had, not stretto, begging your pardon, this diminution of that figure that we had earlier, dun 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 dun, in the piano part, and I'll go back to our triplets against duplet fields. We've got 2 different time signatures, and every time that we have these triplets coming in, or this sort of feeling of shifting into compound time, it's always the crotchet equals the dotted crotchet, so the pulse or the tactus doesn't change. So we're going yada da 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 ding bum bum ba 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 bum 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 ba 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 bum ba ba bum bum ba. So here you can see we've got these 2 time signatures at figure 8 working against each other, but they fit nicely together and they create a bit more tension. And then we have the fragments that we've had before. Here we have this yada da 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 dum, yada da 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 dum, yada da dum, and then we have a diminution of the fourth, the second theme here. So this is the new treatment. This is like kind of 2B. Again, fragments of. So it's like the idea from the beginning where we've got the upward fourths and this falling figure taken from the first theme. And now, having been dropping in tones, now we're going up. We have based on F, based on G, and we've got this canonic idea where it's imitated each time. And then on the third iteration, again, it's extended. We have a version of theme 1. It's like 1B. It's in a different key. It's not quite a recapitulation, if you like. And then we're back to this linking figure that we had in 3 parts with our 5 beat patterns. And then a 6 beat pattern. So then we have this is a 4 beat pattern, and then we have a 3 beat pattern which overlaps into a new 3, which is this feeling one in the bar again that we had before. And then to finish off, we have more canonic and imitative ideas with these fragments. So this linking figure, then we have the first time 9/8 figure comes 3 times again with an answering figure. And then the third time we have this change of tempo, and then this is our fragment from theme 1 played in augmentation. So it's double the note values. And with a simplified, instead of semiquaver, we've got this yum, be-dum, be-dum. And we have more, and then we have vorangehen, means sort of like ravvivando. Whoops. That wasn't quite what I intended to do. It's sort of ravvivando. It would be the so it's getting faster again. So we have these canonic entries. With each with ti-do-dum, 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 ti-do-dum-dum. Fragments again. You can see where he's derived all of these little sections, and then we have it in we have wieder beruhigen, which means slowing down again, or calming down again. And very calm, sehr ruhig. And we have this slow, this augmented version of the opening figure with octave answers. And this is one of my favourite bits of music, this coda that starts from the langsame here. It's a really beautiful setting with these open fifths, interestingly, here in the bass line, keeping things really sort of open and calm. And we end back in B flat in our tonal centre, so we've been on quite a journey. So that's the first movement of Hindemith's Clarinet Sonata.